Hello and welcome. My name is Mark. This is Riffle Shuffle and Roll, and today I'm bringing you a look at a little game called Block Rummy. If it's your first time visiting the channel, be sure to hit subscribe and the bell so you're notified about new games every week. Block Rummy is a variation of classic Rummy, with the biggest difference being that once the draw pile runs out of cards, the round ends. I like the tension that builds up as the round progresses during this game, and the scoring is pretty interesting. With all that said, let's go ahead and dive in and learn how to play Block Rummy. All you need to play Block Rummy is a standard 52 card deck and a way to keep score. In all four suits, aces are low and kings are high. It's important to note that aces are always low. To set up for the game, deal each player 7 cards, place the rest of the deck face down in the center of the table, and turn the top card over to begin the discard pile. In a 2-player game, each player will get 10 cards. During the game, players are trying to empty their hand of cards, and they do that by playing melds to the community meld space. So before we begin, you need to understand what melds are. There are 2 types of melds, sets and runs. Sets are made up of 3 or 4 cards of the same rank. Runs are made up of 3 or more cards of the same suit in sequential order. So here we have a run of 3, Jack, Queen, King, and up here we have a run of 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all in the same suit. Once all of the players have seen the first card of the discard pile, play may begin. We begin the game with the player left of the dealer. So we'll play that the dealer is here at the bottom of the screen, and the player to the left of them is player 1. A player has 2 options on their turn. They may draw the top card of the draw pile, or they may take the top card of the discard pile. Player 1 chooses to draw from the top of the draw pile. They add that card to their hand. Now, if a player has any melds, they may choose to play them to the community meld area. If not, they end their turn by discarding a card. Player 1 will discard the 9 of clubs. This is placed on top of the discard pile. Play then passes to player 2. They are going to go ahead and draw from the draw pile as well and add that card to their hand. Now, player 2 already has a meld. They have a set of 4s, so they can choose to either discard and end their turn or play these melds to the table. So player 2 plays their meld to the table. This is a community meld space, meaning that any other player, including the player who made the meld, is able to add cards to it. So anyone who has the remaining 4 on their turn, they may add it to this meld. Now player 2 ends their turn by discarding the king of diamonds. Play passes to player 3. Player 3 now draws from the draw pile and adds the card to their hand. And they're going to end their turn by discarding the queen of spades. Player 4 begins their turn by drawing from the draw pile. They draw the remaining 4 and they're going to choose to add it to the meld. Now that's optional. Playing melds or laying off onto melds that are already started is always optional. A player can choose when to do it. This player can't do anything else, so they're going to discard the 9 of diamonds and play passes to player 1. So again, player 1 may draw from the top of the draw pile or the discard pile. They do not need the 9 of diamonds. It could possibly help in the future, but they're going to go ahead and take a chance with the draw pile. They draw a 7, so they now have a meld in their hand. Again, they have the option of playing it or keeping it. They're going to go ahead and play it to the table. Anybody in the game can add the final 7 to that meld. And this player ends their turn by discarding the queen of diamonds. Let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit to see how a round ends. All right, so we fast forward a little bit. We see we have more melds over here in the community meld space, and there are 2 ways that a round can end. One way is if the draw pile runs out of cards. So here it is the dealer's turn. They go ahead and take the last card. It's an 8 of hearts. They check to see if it can be melded. It cannot be melded with anything in their hand. So they discard it and the round officially ends. Now, if the round ends like this, the player with the lowest deadwood score is going to be the round winner. The other way a player can go out is by discarding their final card. So here it is player 2's turn. They draw a 10 of spades. That can be played over here on this run, and then they end their turn by discarding their final card. This ends the round, and player 2 would be the round winner. With that said, there is one very special way to go out, and it's called going rummy. Let me show you what that looks like. As I said earlier, players do not have to play melds to the table until they want to. And one advantage to holding on to a handful of melds until you're able to go out is getting that rummy bonus. So here, the player actually has 9 cards that are all melded, and their 10th card is deadwood. So they're gonna go ahead and draw. And they got the 5 of spades, which allows them to meld every card in their hand after they discard. So what a player does is they go ahead and play all the melds to the community meld area, to the table, and then they discard their final card. And just for fun, they can say, rummy, either nicely or loudly and obnoxiously. That player automatically wins, and they will earn a scoring bonus. At the end of the round, players earn points for the cards left in their hand. Those cards are referred to as deadwood. Aces are worth 1 point, numbered cards are worth the value of the number on the card, and face cards are each worth 10 points. If a player goes out, then they earn all the points that are left in their opponent's hands. If the player went out by going rummy, the points are doubled for the round. If the round ends and nobody has gone out, then the player with the lowest total number of points left in their hand wins the round. So in this example, player 1 is the winner because they only have 3 deadwood points. So to find the score, you would subtract the difference between the winner and each of the other individual players, and then add that up. So you would take 6 minus 3, and that is 3. And then you would take 12 minus 3 and get 9. So 9 plus 3 is 12 points earned so far. And then you would take 25 minus 3 and get 22 points. And then you would add 22 to the running total of 12. This player earned 34 points for the round. After tallying up your score, collect the cards and deal passes left each round. Continue playing rounds until one player reaches 200 points or more. That player is the winner. For a longer game, play to 500. And that was Block Rummy. Now, I grew up playing Rummy 500, which is a lot different than this game. And I've never played anything like this. Now, I don't think I would play with 2 players. It might be interesting, but I think I would rather play Jin. Now with that said, 3 or 4 players, I think I'm gonna start playing this over 500 Rummy. I love the sort of countdown of the draw pile, and you really have to keep an eye on how many cards are left in the draw pile, as well as how many cards are left in your opponent's hands. And you need to juggle, when you're going to start playing melds to the table, because as soon as melds are played, you are opening up more possibility for other players to start getting cards out of their hand, which will bring an end to the round quicker. So I think there's a lot more tension in this particular version of Rummy than in 500. There's certainly a lot fewer options because 500 Rummy has the staggered row, the discard row, where players can pick up a lot of cards at once and just make a whole bunch of melds, which is fun in its own way. But this, you really have to keep an eye on what cards have been played, because if something you need gets buried in the discard pile, you need to change your plan of action immediately. So all of that is what makes this game super interesting to me, and I just wanted to share it with you. There are links down in the description to my Board Game Geek page if you want to follow along with what I'm playing, and to GameRules.com, where you can find a write-up for this game and many, many more, as well as Riffle, Shuffle, and Roll.com, where I publish original games that are rooted in tradition but feel fresh and new. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep on playing.